Well, hello everyone, Dog Walker Dave here. Today on the channel, I'm going to give you my review of the Garmin FENIX 7 Sapphire Solar that I've had for over 8 months now and hundreds of kilometers of use on the trails, as you can see behind me, and in the mountains. And what better place than to do a review of a product that's meant for the outdoors than being in the great outdoors. I'm located in Calgary right now on one of the many trails that I have around my home. So for this video, don't expect any stats and specs or anything like that many different YouTube reviewers have put on their YouTube channels, and you can check it all out on the Garmin website if you want. So in this video, what I'm going to talk about are a few main points. Number one, the durability. Number two, the display. Number three, mapping. Number four, battery. And then I'll give you one, I guess you would call it con for the device. So let's get right into it. Number one, the durability of this device. Not really much to say other than this is built like a tank. Titanium bezel, sapphire screen, that's all I ever want in a device. Something that you could go through very harsh conditions. It's extremely difficult to scratch the sapphire display. It's not impossible, but it's extremely difficult to scratch it. I have not one blemish on this device at all after, as I mentioned, hundreds of kilometers of use. So the durability of this device, big thumbs up. Number two, the display. It might not necessarily be in order of the bullet points that I mentioned at the start of this video, but the display, it's a 1.3 inch, 47 millimeter case, memory and pixel, sapphire glass display. I know that's a mouthful, and that's about the only stat I'm going to give you other than possibly the battery life. I've tried the FENIX 7X, the bigger version of this, and for my 165 millimeter wrist, I got pretty small wrists for the size of me and the size of my hands, but the 1.4 inch on the 7X was a little bit too big. The 1.3 inch display is the sweet spot for me. Looking at the display, looking at maps and all of those kinds of things, for my eyes, because I'm getting up there in age, I find that if I really want to read a map or any of the display things, I would have to have something really big in order to see it well. So I want something on my wrist that I can see okay with my eyes, and it's not too big that it looks just far too big on my wrist. And the memory and pixel display is great in sunlight like we have right now. Point number three, mapping. Garmin is known in the outdoor industry. They are known for their maps, and this is no exception. Preloaded maps on the device are a lovely thing to have, especially when you're out in the mountains. You can load a course onto it, a GPX course, or you can go on Garmin Connect and find some already loaded courses around your area, load it on the device, and you can get turn-by-turn directions. It's a fantastic feature to have. Garmin, they are just heads and tails above basically every other manufacturer when it comes to mapping, because that's really what they were known for to begin with. They get into the handhelds many years ago, but they started out basically with mapping on handheld GPS devices. So you're really not going to go any better than the Garmin for mapping. And point number four is the battery life. The battery life on this device, I usually go around 10 days or so before I even consider charging it, unless I go for really long adventures. But I don't even bother looking at it usually for about 10 days. Battery life claims, with good settings, not the best settings, but good settings, to be around the 20-day mark. But for me, I check it usually every 10 days. Battery life has held up quite well. There are devices out there, even from Garmin, the FENIX 7X and the Enduro, that have way longer battery life, but the battery life on this 7 series is fantastic. It has a solar glass display, but I find that really I'm not outside long enough during the day to take advantage of the solar power for this, and I'm not really sure how effective it is. I would say from my experience with it, it's more that The solar glass prevents the battery from draining quicker, I would say. Some people might say, yeah, you can leave it outside on your pack if you're stopped for a break or something like that, stop for lunch, you can leave it outside in your pack in the direct sunlight like we have right now, and that will charge up your device just a little bit. But don't rely on the solar glass display to fully charge your device on a regular basis. Again, unless you're outside all day long. And quite honestly, there are many other features about this device that make it a great device. Storm alert, sunset alert, morning report, all the wellness tracking, how much fluid you lose during a run, estimated. All the different fitness metrics that are part of the Garmin ecosystem make this a fantastic watch. I know it's a lot of money, which brings me to my, I guess, the con of the device. In Canada, this is a $1,200 device. It is not inexpensive. So that's my one strike against this device. But when you look at the big picture, for those people that are runners or if they go out and hike and whatnot, you're spending $150 easily on a pair of running shoes. $200, $250. Hell, for some people who wear racing shoes, they're spending $350 Canadian dollars, that is, on a pair of shoes. This is going to last you years. Think about it, you could easily spend $1,000 on running shoes throughout the course of a year if you're putting in relatively big mileage. So I look at this as an investment. I believe that this will last me quite a number of years. Unless, of course, I get in my little squirrel brain that I'm going to switch out and get another device. I have tried many devices in the 8 months that I've owned this device, but I always go back to the FENIX 7. If you found this useful in any way, this video, consider hitting that subscribe button. Leave a comment below if you have the FENIX 7 or any of the other older FENIX models. Thanks for watching, everyone. I'm just sitting here enjoying the sun, like Sheryl Crow song. Get outside, everyone. Gonna wait for a plane here. The longest train that I've ever come across in Calgary here while I'm waiting to do this filming. Oh well, gotta roll with it, I guess.